It's a warning.
Exploring the new Batman movie. Early thoughts. There are superheroes. And then there is Batman. The character commands a special kind of emotion that makes the fans so very attached, and hence, making a Batman movie is no less than playing with fire. One wrong move, one misstep, and the fans will chew the makers alive. Maybe this is the reason behind many prominent directors shying away from making Batman movies. Christopher Nolan took up the challenge back in the day, and his legacy set the bar so high that no one really expected it to be breached, or even reached for that matter. The Batman, with a fresh take on the caped crusader, however, does come pretty close, and dare we say, even match up to the kind of brilliance that fascinated us with Nolan's Batman. For starters, it is always a challenge to deliver something genuinely different when it comes to a popular character like Batman. The extensive comic books, animated series, movies, and the overall history is so rich that just about any portrayal is bound to seem familiar. So, how exactly does the director Matt Reeves manage to break the monotony? How has he managed to bowl the audience over? And how have the cast members filled into shoes that were thought to be impossible to fill? In this video, we will answer it all as we explore The Batman, a movie that certainly surpassed our expectations. Big time. This video contains no spoilers, but it will tell you why exactly you should fill up the theaters to witness this spectacle. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. Originality of the narrative steals the show. Is it a detective story? Is it a serial killer thriller? Or is it a superhero movie? Well, it is a bit of everything, and too many cooks do not spoil the broth here. Matt Reeves has expertly handled the multiple aspects of the plot and woven them together into a well-knit narrative that is addictively engaging. Batman here acts more as an investigator than anything else, but that doesn't mean that the director has shied away from the typical Batman moments. The Batmobile, for instance, steals the show with its jaw-dropping presence. Is it the best Batmobile we have seen in movies? Quite possibly, yes. And the chase scenes are sure to give you the goosebumps. Yes, they have certainly used CGI, but the quality of such special effects have developed so much that it looks a bit too real. Anyway, coming back to the plot, a sadistic killer is on a murderous spree, and he leaves some cryptic clues for the investigators to follow. Batman is relatively new to his role of the masked vigilante, and he is still not fully trusted by the police department. However, Gordon has a strange friendship and faith in him, and they set out to unravel the mystery slowly. The killer's plans become evident, and it throws up some tests for Batman that will test his tenacity, personality, and wisdom. The poor guy is already struggling with plenty of issues, and this just adds on to his woes because he is up against the mighty Riddler, a killer who loves a fair bit of puzzle in his crimes. Batman must forge new friendships, and these unlikely alliances are the key to his fight against the insane killer. As the fight intensifies in a dark and corrupt Gotham, the Dark Knight is all set to meet his match. Plot is borrowed from multiple comic books, but the originality is written all over the movie. In fact, it is not even related to the previous movies in any manner. Even the portrayal of Batman that we see here is very different from what we have seen before. The director fulfills his promise of delivering an innovative take on Batman, and the movie is going to be a crown on his head for times to come.
I'm part of it. You'll see.
The cast shines bright. Pattinson shines the brightest. Many people were widely opposed to the idea of Robert Pattinson starring as Batman. Well, his sins of the Twilight stuff were certainly cleared by some enchanting performances, especially in the movie The Lighthouse. Now that he was given the opportunity to play Batman, he grabbed it with both hands. He is terrific as the Dark Knight, and he slips into the role almost effortlessly. However, there will be some talk regarding the kind of Batman that has been portrayed. For instance, there's hardly much of a difference between Bruce Wayne the billionaire and Batman the vigilante in terms of personality. We are mostly used to seeing a flamboyant, carefree attitude from Bruce Wayne that exudes confidence, but this time, it is slightly different. It can be argued that the absence of the sharp changes in character is probably because Batman here is still getting used to his new role. As the narrative suggests, he has only been acting as the masked vigilante for 2 years, and clearly he hasn't fully adjusted to his new avatar yet. Most people secretly love the idea of a superhero that succumbs to his own demon, but still gets up to fight when the time comes. Batman's struggle is obvious in many scenes, and Robert Pattinson does an unbelievable job of bringing it on screen. His Batman voice completes the persona, and the audience will be over the moon with their new Batman. I swear, watching this movie will surely change your opinion on Robert Pattinson, in case you were still struggling with his Twilight persona. The best part is the kind of actors he is surrounded by in this movie. Paul Dano will blow your mind with his portrayal of the Riddler. These might be big words, but this is one performance that goes close to Heath Ledger's brilliance in The Dark Knight. For a major part of the movie, you will simply try to comprehend what the Riddler is up to and why. And that is precisely the intention of the director. He is dark, he is unpredictable, and man, can he throw the audience into a tizzy. This is the closest you can get to the perfect Batman villain, and Riddler's part in the movie is what transforms it into the League of Excellence. If Riddler wasn't enough, you also have Penguin, played by Colin Farrell. He is totally unrecognizable under all that prosthetic, and even the trailer hinted at what was about to come. Watching Colin Farrell slip into the character is blissful, and Penguin scores high in the maze of stories that will come together in the movie. As for the supporting characters for Batman, Jeffrey Wright plays a very convincing Gordon. He is stuck with a bizarre crime sequence, and he is often clueless about the way ahead. The city is sinking under corruption, and in the darkest hour, he is willing to get any help he can. Luckily for him, Batman is an able ally, and the equation between the two is fun to watch. Gordon doesn't overdo his part, never outshines Batman, but maintains his presence nevertheless. A special word of appreciation has to be reserved for Zoe Kravitz, who is the alluring and slick Catwoman. She nailed the role to perfection, and the chemistry between Batman and Catwoman is tantalizing. Even when they are fighting each other, the narrative doesn't make an effort to give you the origin stories of these characters, and this is indicative of the fact that they have existed in Gotham long before the story of the movie begins. Rather, Batman is relatively new and needs some introduction, but the other characters kind of explain themselves. There are some surprises in terms of the cast, but let's not ruin it for you before the official release. Let's just say the acting performance is one of the strongest assets of the Batman, and the movie wouldn't have been the same without the kind of talent it had.
Whoa, take it easy, sweetheart.
Gotham, the silent showstopper. We almost forgot about Gotham while talking about the cast. Yes, you heard us right. Gotham City in this movie is no less than a character in itself. We all have a particular image of Gotham in our minds. Never did we realize how accurate the portrayal in the movie would be. For one, the city is always shown in the dark, and that adds to the ambiance in a massive way. The visual effects and aesthetics couldn't be any better. Gotham City literally speaks to the audience. It tells you about the rotting society, the ample corruption, and the desperate hopelessness that has grasped the city. The beauty of it is that it looks like any other metropolis in the United States, but there is something distinctly different that sets it apart. For the audience, it looks soothing, and it helps in telling the story better, and we couldn't have dreamed of a better platform for the narrative. Add to that the enchanting musical score by Michael Giacchino, and the atmosphere is ripe for some serious Batman story to go down. Marvelous verdict. We're really struggling to find flaws with this movie, and Matt Reeves has perfected his art. He has already impressed us with his previous works like Cloverfield and Let Me In, and this movie just shows what a fine director he has grown into. He has shaped the characters carefully, and the edit work has left no stones unturned. Don't miss out on the subtle humor in the movie, which is enough to put a smile on your face amidst all the serious moments. Batman Begins by Nolan is filled with jokes and one-liners to make the audience laugh. Even the other two movies in the Nolan-verse had a decent dose of humor. This one, however, is very different, and the humor is almost dangerous. You may have to dig for it, but when you find it, you have struck oil. The CGI effects are spot on, the production values are impeccable. You really need to be a very harsh critic to hate this wonderful effort. So, our verdict is pretty simple. Book your tickets at the earliest and catch this modern-day classic on full flow. The effects of the theater cannot be recreated at home, and when the sound of the booming Batmobile engine thumps your chest, you will know that such Batman movies don't come by too often. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one, and be safe. Thanks, everyone.
I'm vengeance.